Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to today's video. And we are less than a day away from the release of Waves of Intrigue on the global server. And in today's video, we are going to talk about some top tips and tricks that you need to know before hopping on to the new server itself, as well as some progression tips and tricks. And for today's video, there are some preps that you guys can do before the server resets if you watch my video a few hours before the server reset. And there are some tips that are for the general progression for the Waves of Intrigue side, where I'm able to showcase some of my test server account progression to let you guys know how to progress better. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with the very first pointer, and this applies mostly to the newer players. Do get your resonance synergy up all the way to plus 60, because there is a stat bonus, as you guys can see right here. So if you're able to push your account to plus 60 on the resonance synergy, that's more than sufficient just to power up your account enough, because anything beyond 60 gives you additional gems. So your primary goal on most new players account is to get your resonance synergy all the way to plus 60. So you can get the materials to upgrade from converting your normal training manual right here, or farming the essence from various sources such as your AFK rewards, your Insta AFK, noble paths, as well as Legends Trial if you haven't completed it yet. So do clear all this. There's also one more way for you to farm for your essence right there, and that is through your Trial of Abyss. So Trial of Abyss is probably the end game for the preseason. So if you have a really strong account, try to push through as many floors as possible. But even if you can't push to the higher floors at where you are right now, is perfectly fine, because you can still visit this content after you enter the new season itself. So you can actually use the new season equipments, the new season artifacts, as well as the additional levels on your character in this game mode, which means that it will actually be easier for you to push through all these contents within the Waves of Intrigue season. So this is for the new players who haven't experienced the new season before. Basically, the base stats are intact, right? And your resonance synergy, which is your base stats to your whole account itself, will remain intact. And your primary goal is to get them to plus 60 by farming the different like pre-season stuff, such as Trial of Abyss, such as the Legends Trial for the upgrade materials. So that's for the resonance synergy part. And then for those of you guys who are in a Song of Strife season, those of you guys who are in the same season as I am on the global side, do remember to do the checklist for all the different pointers and secure at least 10,000 points for the seasonal reset. That way you can get a whole bunch of epic invite letters, as well as your temporal essence, which are the yellow stones, very, very precious stuff, and then also your glorious hero chest for your guaranteed celestial and hypogean character. So anything beyond that, right, it gives you additional gems as well as a twilight essence. So if you're more hardcore in terms of securing the additional resources, do go and check your account, right? Check all your magic charms, check all your seasonal levels, your seasonal progression, as well as your general resonance level. Try to get as much levels as possible to get to the next tier of points, so you can secure more free resources for your account itself. So that's for the pre-season prep, right? For the new players that just joined us on the Asia side, as well as the older players that have been playing through the Song of Strife season. Okay, so now let's talk about the progression for Waves of Intrigue itself. So on a day-to-day basis, in terms of the open world exploration, there's quite a few maps that is available to my test server right now, but there is actually a time gate in terms of the unlock condition per map. So this is a lot different compared to the Song of Strife, where you're able to progress through multiple chapters, progress through multiple maps in one time. So this way, I think it will be less FOMO-ish, because if you are really busy tomorrow, or if you're really busy on the first few days of the new season itself, you won't fall too far back behind, because there is a time lock, 24 hours per map, so you can still catch up maybe 2 or 3 days later, as long as you are logging into your account, progressing through your AFK progression just to secure the resources. I think you should be fine. Okay, so there is less FOMOs. And in terms of general progression, there isn't really a cap for your daily AFK stage progression. So obviously, if your account is stronger, if you have all the Paragon units, you have multiple EX15, and you have the strongest PV progression, they can push through the AFK progress to secure more rewards. But with regards to the story progression as well as the open world progression, there's a 24-hour cap on each map. So if you are pretty busy on the first few days, perfectly fine. Just remember to log in and at least auto through some AFK progress to secure some of these resources from here, and then pass through your story mode after you have the time, right? After a few days if you're a little bit delayed. So that's for the general progression. Less FOMO, right? Just remember to progress through daily and then you should be fine, okay? And then the next one will be with regards to the factional talents. So right now I'm currently, I'll say like halfway through the maps itself. So if we take a look at the new season map, we have Stormy Strait, we have Eroded Tunnel, we have Chainkeeper. So there is still, I'll say like one map behind, which is Blackthorn. So roughly halfway through in terms of general progression. And if you take a look at my factional talents right here, I don't even have enough resources to max out 3 of the factional talents yet. So if you have seen my factional talent guide, I think nothing much has really changed in terms of the values as well as the abilities. But in terms of how you want to prioritize your factional talent, try to use it on your main faction that you use for pushing purposes, so that you can push through more AFK stage and then farm for more of the upgrading materials, right? This talent op comes from your AFK rewards as you progress through the stages. So that will be, I'll say, my biggest tips for the factional talent side. Use your factional ops on the faction that you use the most for your PV pushing, and then you should be fine in terms of general progression. Because with regards to the factional talent, there's this AFK stage known as the talent trials, where there will be a factional talent bonus. So if you upgrade the talents of the classes that you don't use a lot, you probably won't benefit too much from your general AFK stage push. So that's why use it on your most powerful pushing class first, and then right once you are stable in terms of your content pushing stuff, then use it on the other classes where you want to trial and error with the different combos you have. So that's for the talent trials, at least within the early game stuff, because as you guys can see, it costs quite a bit, right? The more you go. So I went for Wilders and Maulers, as you guys can see, because I mainly use these 2 classes. So it has been helping me push through my AFK stage pretty smoothly and clear through certain legend trials pretty easily, because my units in these factions are a lot stronger. So that's with regards to the early game stuff. And then with regards to general progression, for those of you guys who are new to the season, more to the newer players, there's actually the seasonal quest. So this is like a roadmap. There's a seasonal growth quest as well as the seasonal growth trial. So as long as you're actively clearing through your growth quest, I think your progression should be fine. And there is actually a weekly limit in terms of the points you can get to secure the rewards. So this season milestone rewards will give you all your goodies in terms of your premium currencies, your soul stones, your talent reset scrolls, as well as your artifacts, right? Such as Verdant Echo, such as Blinding Echo. So the further you go, the stronger the artifact you unlock, and then you have more artifact variety to use to min-max your Dream Realm damage. So that's for the season milestone rewards. So generally, I think if your account is a lot stronger, you are a heavy spender with a lot of strong units, I think the general progression side shouldn't be a problem for you, because a legendary plus 15 units quite easy to achieve if you're a big spender, right? Paragon is also pretty easy to achieve. So this is on my free-to-play account, therefore I have a lot of this not achieved, because I don't have that many legendary plus unit and I don't have that many supreme plus unit yet. So very free to play by nature. But progress side, I think if you have been spending, if you have been progressing smoothly, you should be able to get most of these points. But there's still a weekly limit anyway, so it doesn't matter. I think it helps a little bit at the start because it gives you this additional season manual as well as the season essence if you have paragon units. So there could be more rewards the higher paragon units you have. So that's for the progression side. And then there's also the activeness side, though this is for general activeness. So Velvet Voucher, season token, as well as recruitment, as well as your daily lock-in. So this will all contribute to your season milestone rewards right here. Okay, so there's this different modes: reach AFK stage, there's a time gate, okay, different Duras trial, different clearance on the different bosses, as well as the other different caveats. So this will be a very important benchmark for progression, because it will allow you to unlock your later and stronger artifacts. Unfortunately, even though I'm pretty, I'll say, like deep in terms of progression, I'll say halfway in terms of the maps itself, right? You guys can see I don't have that many artifacts unlocked. Okay, so in the first few days of progression, you will actually need to use 2 levels of your upgrading materials to upgrade your Swift Heal spell. This is for one of the progression criteria for the season progression. So after that, you will get your Verdant spell over here, so Verdant Echo. So you have to use it before you get Verdant Echo, because if you take a look at this, right, Verdant Echo unlocks at 250 points. So there is a quest within the seasonal growth quest that requires you to have a level 12 seasonal artifact. So that's where you have to spend your upgrading materials on your Swift Heal spell first before you get your Verdant spell. So this will be probably the stronger early game content pushing spell, because it's good for Dream Realm purposes because of the buffs on your carries as well as the damage reduction on your tank to make them tankier. So this is one of the better early game stuff which is useful generally, and then I will strongly encourage you to go for this one first. Another one that I think is really good is Binding spell. So this one is confining spell but on steroids if you're able to max it out. The early game power of this one is not that good because the skill cooldown is pretty long, 14 seconds, and the stat that it gives is not that big. Right, it is better than confining spell, but confining spell has a 10-second cooldown, so you're able to actually control your enemies 2 at a time consistently with confining spell. But binding spell, there is a gap where the enemies are not controlled. So I'll say this one late game is really going to be something to look forward to, but in the early game, not really a high priority to focus yet. So that's for the binding spell part. I haven't really used that much of resonating spell, because if you take a look at my materials available, I only have enough for 2 levels on Swift Heal, and then the rest went to the Verdant spell side. So I haven't tried this a lot, but I think if you have this hyper carry buffing team in your own collection, this could be a good one to just buff up your hyper carry to give them more energy to spend whatever they want to do. Okay, so that's for the artifact side. Do take note, and I guess that's pretty much it in terms of general progression. With regards to the equipment side, I think in terms of upgrading of equipments, my biggest advice, right, for the newer players would be to upgrade accordingly. Clear the open world map first, get whatever equipments you can get on the open world, and then progress to upgrade your equipments based on your main units that you're running. So for me, it's rogue, support, as well as the tanks, to a certain extent archers. So therefore, these are the weapons that I'll be focusing on. I'll have a guide on the equipment stuff, right, which is on the channel. Just type Zeeebo equipment guide, you should be able to see it. So the general guideline for equipment upgrading should still be the same in the new season, and just upgrade it based on what you need and what you lack. Okay, so that's for the equipment stuff, and I guess that's pretty much it for the general progression. Hopefully these tips and tricks are helpful to prepare you for the new season, as well as let you know what to do in terms of the new season stuff. So with regards to the general quest line itself, I think as long as you're following the story, you should be able to progress smoothly, and there's a whole bunch of side quests available over here for you to clear to get all these additional gems for your summoning purposes. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.